So for those of you just joining us, my name is Pete Murray at Firaxis Games, and I'm joined by Andrew Garrett, the lead AI designer for Sid Meier's Civilization VI. This is our AI Battle Royale that you've been following for a couple of hours now. We've got some cool stuff going on our standard size map, standard speed, king difficulty, 8 civs playing against each other. Right now we have 2 continents that are settling into kind of stable geopolitical patterns. Right now we're looking at England, and now we're looking at Brazil, 2 of the powerhouses on it. But in first place are the Aztec, who are coming ahead very, very strongly on their side of the world. Lingering behind are Russia, Japan, Sparta is still kind of a contender. Right now, Spain, not so much. Did I miss anybody? We'll find out when we do a score update in just a moment. Quite a lot of industrial capability at the Aztec capital right there. A lot of growth capability in Rio. And Japan managed to do pretty well for itself. Though it can't use its coastal bonuses, it's trying to get its cities as compacted up as it can to take advantage of some of those adjacency bonuses for its districts. Looks like the Greeks are going to try to generate another settler. That's interesting. And poor Rome. Poor Rome, staggering along. So people have asked if we're planning to release a battle royale or tools to the community. The Battle Royales, this AI-only game, is something that's been very useful for us. If we can get these tools polished up and in a state where we can distribute them to the community, obviously we would like to do so, but as far as I know, we don't have any firm plans to do so at this time. This build that we're playing is a special build based on some of the work we've done here at Firaxis. Our lead engineer, Ken Gray, made some special modifications just for this AI Battle Royale, with the notifications and some other things that are in it as well too.
The victory screens being one of the big ones. When you aren't actually a player, the UI wasn't set up to handle that type of situation, so we had to make some changes for that.
It's also worth pointing out that we are not observing from the position of a nuclear submarine under the ice caps of the world. We are actually kind of not really a player. The observer is now an independent state in the game itself. So Brazil continuing to generate profits. That is a popular city-state right there.
We have a lot of cultural city-states this time around.
Yeah, and Kabul, which is a militaristic one, that one looked like that was pretty popular too. It was kind of situated at the crossroads of a few empires. Being a militaristic city-state, that helps a lot as well too.
Yeah, I love the city-state addition to the game. The suzerain bonus makes them fun to compete over, and those bonuses are excellent for in-play.
They got Oxford University, that's what they were
That's what it
shooting
was,
for.
okay.
Well, that's good. They can drop some great writing in that. Somebody's asking, how far ahead does the AI plan?
It depends what you're talking about. They do different things for that. They have overall strategies that they will try to go for, the various victory strategies. Most of what they are doing, they are trying to figure out what they think the best move is that will be benefiting them over the next 100 turns. So when they're planning their cities, they're basically taking a 100-turn horizon to figure out what building or district is the best thing to build in that city. Military is a slightly different situation, which obviously has to share the same build queue, so they have to be able to talk to each other. but that typically has a shorter time horizon in that they're looking for, do they need another unit, and if so, what will benefit them most over about the next 30 turns.
Okay. Let's take a look at scores real quick, because we are coming up on 10 past the hour. Religious victory, domination victory, again, no changes, all the capitals are still there. Religious victory, interestingly enough, it looks like
Greece has lost a city. Islam has...
Yeah, and Russia has, so Spain has reconverted itself to Catholicism, and Russia has reconverted itself to Eastern Orthodoxy.
No, those are the ones that they founded. They both have 0. In fact, Greece is the interesting one in that Greece has founded Islam but has been converted. Spain is the only current Islamic civilization.
Very interesting. So Catholicism completely gone? Eastern Orthodoxy lingering?
No, they both have 0 out of 8. Now, it's always possible that they can come back because the holy cities will generate pressure for their original religion, but that's pretty hard if other cities nearby have been converted. It's not enough usually to convert them back, barring unusual circumstances.
Nothing on the science victory yet. We just haven't gotten that far on tech. Culture? Culture looks like...
Greece and the Aztecs are both pulling in
England.
a couple.
Oh, Greece has quite a bit of base.
Greece is setting the
domestic
bar for what
tourism.
everyone else needs to get.
Yeah, that's going to make it tough, for sure.
For the culture victory, the culture that you generate is effectively your defense, and the tourism that you're generating is your offense number. Mm-hmm. So Greece has a phenomenal defense. Everyone else has to generate a lot more tourism to overcome that barrier, whereas it looks like Aztecs and England are setting the next one down. They're both tied at 157. So Greece has a lower barrier to break if they can start generating a good bit of tourism.
Very good. And checking the good old score victory, we see
England is in the lead.
In the lead, but only by 3 points. Aztec right behind them. Then a big gap of 50 points before we get to Greece. They're up a little bit on Brazil. Russia, Rome, Japan, probably out of the running for this game. Good try, guys. We think well of you. All right, let's close our windows up real quick. Poor Rome. They usually do so well.
They have been in the top third of victors in more games than any other, in more of these AI games that I've run than any other Civ, but anyone can have a bad start. They took the chance and it didn't pay off.
Yeah, somebody pointed out I didn't even mention Spain. Poor Spain.
Spain had a bad start.
I think they had a bad start. I think I've seen some very, very powerful, aggressive Spain AI.
Oh, absolutely.
This Spain, I think, was a victim of circumstances. England's got its battleships up and running. Spain trying for that settler. Keep reaching for the stars, Spain. The Aztec going for another settler too. Where are they going to put it? Wonder if they're going to try settling the eastern continent.
The AI should not be building settlers unless they have a place where they think they can put them. But again, there's that other continent. There is that small island chain in there, either of which are possibilities. And once they've built it up, if they see enough forces around there, they may decide to just keep them at home. Not the best thing, but I have seen that happen as well. Madrid seems to be holding on to a settler, so it could be the same situation there.
So somebody's asked if it's possible to release some of your cities as vassals like you could in Civ 4. No, and you can transfer ownership of a city as the result of like a diplomatic exchange or maybe settling a war with somebody, but no, you can't take a city and just be like, hey, guess what? You're independent now. Good luck. Have fun. Doesn't work that way.
I think the idea there would be to, especially if you're going wide, which we obviously do have a good role for here, keeping management on all the cities can become a bit of a burden. If you are doing that, I'd recommend using some of the district projects, which still get you some extra bonuses, more great person points, and they don't require a lot of micromanagement.
If Toronto wanted, it could take over Rome. Oh my gosh, look where Russia just stuck that city.
Okay, they did have something in mind.
They did. They did. So I think part of the reason Greece is doing so well is their empire is big and fairly compact, and they've been able to get a lot of Acropolis districts constructed. They're probably booming down the culture track. They're probably the suzerain of most of the city-states they can get in touch with. Oh, I've got a, thank you. You tend to get blind in that sort of thing. So I was just pointing out I had a lingering tooltip. So what's been the most unexpected thing you've seen in an AI battle?
The dueling great work heist. This was actually a problem for us for a little while, where an AI was sending their spies to steal a great work, only to have it stolen out from under them by another civilization spy before he could get it out. And then when he took that to his city, those same two civilizations sent their spies there to steal that back.
It's like a heist movie.
It was a lot of fun to watch.
Oh, we have our first spaceport coming online.
In 1826.
That's impressive.
Very nice.
That's very impressive.
Who was it? I saw the spaceport.
I'll bet it was the Aztec.
That's a good bet.
So we'll check. At 5:30, we're going to, local time, so that's in about 12 minutes, we're going to need to take a break for a couple of reasons. One is for our friends who are watching on Facebook. We need to reset our stream. We want to make sure that you stay with us as we generate a new stream for you. But that'll be a good time right before we do that to check scores and update everybody on the state of the world as well too. Oh, Japan finally got another city out. They got Nagoya now. They kind of own the south of that continent. Little too late. A little too late.
Brazil has entered the information era.
Yeah, I want Toronto to take over Rome. They could do it. They could do it. Yep, it was the Aztec. It's out in the desert there. We have our first mechanized infantry appearing in the city of London. So it looks like Rome might be stuck on that upgrade path as well too, because I'm still seeing some legionaries kicking around.
The warrior infantry path is one of the hardest ones because both of the intermediate units require strategic resources, and if you get behind or you just get unlucky and don't get them, you're stuck. At that point, you try building the anti-cavalry line and use your spearmen and pikemen instead, but that still doesn't let you upgrade your warriors or legions.
T. Pangolin wants to know what's the maximum number of civs you can have in the game at any one time, stock?
That would be the huge map, which gives 12 major civilizations, 18 minors, plus a barbarian. I run one of those, auto plays over each night. It's set up to run automatically while I'm not here. It takes about 4 hours without graphics to play through that as a 500-turn game. But it gives me the logs every morning so I can look through and see how things were going.
Is it possible to steal city tiles like in Civ 4 by exerting culture influence, or are tiles as static as they were in Civ 5?
For all that we have talked about that, at the moment, no. Once you have claimed a tile, the only way for someone else to take it is to take the city.
Right. So no more chaining forts around somebody's capital and restricting them to that tile. So people are asking how long the stream is going to run. We're going to play this out. We don't know how this is going to end. We're going to play this through. Although we are set up, I'll go back into our victory screen so we can see how things stand right now. Score ends at 750 turns, and we are at 292 right now. So we are not halfway to the score victory. I expect we will see a winner in this game right now. Aztecs and England now completely tied at 418. Science, we should see, yep, the Aztecs have gotten, they've built their spaceport, they've researched rocketry, they're getting ready to launch the Earth satellite. England has built its spaceport, they've researched rocketry, the satellite is under construction. So we're starting to make steps towards the science victory. It's now very achievable. And going on to the culture victory, looks like the Aztec are starting to move a little bit. Greece has not quite as far to go. They don't have to climb quite as much of a hill for tourists. They're making good progress as well too. So Greece might actually sneak it out if they can.
Tourism ramps up very, very quickly. You can really crank up your tourism as you're in the modern and information era. That's one you have to watch out for because it can sneak up on you. You didn't realize how much tourism someone was generating, and suddenly it just takes off.
Especially some of the late game wonders. Cristo Redentor is another good one for really giving yourself a huge boost on that. Domination victory, we haven't seen any capitals change hands. And religious victory?
I would be very surprised to see a religious victory given the current stalemate.
I think we would too. So you are predicting a science or culture victory. Which one do you think it's going to be?
I'll go for science.
Okay, I'm going to vote culture. I'm gonna hope the Spartans pull it out, and despite being in third place, manage to win the game. That is my hope.
That, by the way, is not something that's uncommon in my own auto plays. I have seen many times where the high scorer is not the one who first achieved a victory condition.
Certainly.
And it's like taking the king in chess. It doesn't matter how many other pieces you have left. If you win, that's it.
We see mechanized infantry on the right hand there. So English clearly keeping their army up to date with everything.
Brazil, on the other hand, is not. They must not feel threatened at all. And honestly, I can sort of see that.
They must have they must have either friendship or a full alliance going with the Aztec.
Yeah, they do not seem to feel threatened. They have not been upgrading. I'd love to look through the logs and see exactly what they're thinking, but on the other hand, they're not at war, and they haven't been for a long time. So what they're doing is working.
So Spain limps into the modern era. Good try, Spain. Good hustle. Why don't you take a seat? It looks like our two religious city-states here are pretty popular too. They're starting to expand quite a bit.
Jerusalem is one who I quite like when I'm going for religious victory. If you're their suzerain and have found a religion, they will exert pressure as though they were also a holy city. But with the way they're positioned in this map, I actually wouldn't be that interested. They're too far off to the side.
When they're central on a new continent and you manage to flip them, which is hard, and then maintain your suzerain bonus over them, which can be really, really difficult, that is very rewarding. So again, the island chain kind of between the two continents.
No one's been interested.
No one's been interested in that. It'll be interesting. Sometimes what I'll see is with those island chains, especially on continents, late game, turns out there's aluminum or uranium or something out there, and then suddenly, oh boy, are they interested in that. And then I have to admit, I did a sneaky thing in one game where I put sending settlers out to an island to grab the resources that were on it. And I spaced my cities so that Montezuma, who was also sending a settler, could not settle legally. And the settlers stayed on this one undeveloped tile. I felt very, very good at myself, although Monty didn't like it at all.
And that's not even one that can trigger their promises needed or something like that because you didn't settle near them.
Nope.
It's just where they wanted to.
Nope.
We don't allow you to take a claim on that.
Nope. Well, he spent a lot of the game denouncing me.
He does that.
But to be fair, I did kind of deserve it. I took one of his cities in the classical era and never gave it back. All right, we've moved up on atomic era.
City-states going into the atomic era, right?
I'm surprised nobody went up to the Dead Sea to settle up there. That's been kind of a vacant land during the game. Man, England has a tight empire down there. No wonder they're still scoring up like that. Do you think Spain just doesn't have the worker bandwidth to repair those tiles, or do you think it's just kind of thrown in the towel?
Well, they don't ever quite give up, so I would have to assume that they have decided that it's not worth repairing them in comparison to whatever else they need to do. The amount that they'd make by getting that extra farm is less than whatever else it is that they're working on.
So somebody wants to know how long the warmonger penalty from the ancient era will last.
There is no warmonger penalty in the ancient era.
Oh.
You can fight all you want in the ancient era, no one cares. That's just what you do.
Classical era, say I declare war on somebody in the classical era. Again, smaller than it would be for the modern era.
You get a warmonger, yeah, that's right. The classical era penalty is not that big. I'm still quite willing to declare war in classical era. And how long do they last though? Once you have gained a warmonger penalty, the diplomatic penalty with everyone else, whatever that penalty is, decays for the people you're not at war with who know about you. It decays by 1 every other turn until it hits 0.
Okay.
So obviously the bigger penalties will last considerably longer, smaller penalties, but they all decay by 1 point. I think it's 1 point every other turn.
So we've entered into a fairly stable period because we are now in the atomic era, and those penalties for going to war are pretty egregious at this point, and liable to, if you start a war at this point, especially a surprise war, you're liable to end up as the pariah of the world. So probably the AI is just playing cautiously at this point and kind of turtling up for its final victory.
I would agree with that.
So we're just about to come up to 5:30. We do need to take a break at this point. And what we're going to do is we're going to just put up our ESRB rating for everybody who may be joining the stream late. We're going to give our friends who are watching on Facebook an opportunity to reconnect to the game. We'll be back in just a few minutes with a new member of the team. Drew, thanks very much for coming on this afternoon.
Thanks for having me.
And stay tuned. We'll be back with more AI Battle Royale in just a moment. Okay, thanks for joining us on the stream again. I'm Pete Murray, joined now by Anton Strenger.
Hello.
You are one of the gameplay designers working on Sid Meier's Civilization 6. Thanks for joining us this evening.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me unpause our game and give you a quick recap of what's going on. So we are playing an AI battle royale with 8 civs. We have now moved into the modern era, the atomic era. We're getting ready towards to go towards our end game. Things have kind of stabilized out in the world. And what we've ended up with are 2 continents. We're playing on a standard continents map. Standard speed, 8 civs. And on this main continent right here to the south, we have Japan, who kind of got a rough start and have been lingering since then. Over to their west, we have the English, who are booming.
Very populated cities.
Very populated cities, doing really well. Just between England and the resurgent Greeks under the control of Sparta, we have Rome, who have been not doing very well. This has been a sad game for the Romans.
They were my pick, so I'm sad to hear that.
Yeah, and going up north, we have the even sadder Spanish, who never quite got off the ground, who confined by empire, confined by geography, mountains to their south, tundra to the north, never quite made it as they could have. Speaking of tundra starts, we have the Russians.
They're much better at that.
They are much better at that, but again, constrained by geography, kind of a rough start for them as well too. They also had 2 neighbors who have done very, very well in the game, Brazil and the Aztec. And so what's happened is Brazil and the Aztec have owned the middle part of this continent, forcing everybody else to kind of move around the edges of it.
I feel like this is the landmass of split empires. Everyone's just kind of taking a bite out wherever they can.
Yeah, it's
Even
kind
England's
of
made
interesting.
a guest appearance over there.
Yeah, so we'll restart the game. Let's take a look at the world rankings. Brazil is moving to a new continent. We've got Brazil and Japan tied on the religious game, which is
Locking down their respective continents.
Yeah, we see that a lot, don't we? Where
Yeah.
one continent gets locked and the other ones kind of go on like that.
Yeah, and especially at this point in the game, it's going to be really hard for another player to break in their religion on another continent unless they have a lot of apostles, but those are expensive at this point. So religion victory might be out of the game at this point.
I think we'll
would say.
still see some religious action because
sure.
Greece is still kind of kicking around with Islam for that as well too. Domination. A lot of cities have changed hands peripherally, but they've generally gone back. We've seen no capitals change sides. Culture. Greeks doing what they do so well. They have just a huge lead on culture.
Wow, look at that tourism. Yeah.
But the Aztecs are starting to creep up. Now they're at about 10% of what they need to get a cultural victory, but clearly still lagging behind the Greeks. So the Greeks, they actually have my vote for winning. I think they're going to be able to pull out a cultural victory.
Oh, wow.
And then science victory.
This is interesting.
Yeah, it is. The English are already getting ready to do a moon landing, so they're moving on to the second stage of it too. So what?
Stage 2 rockets engaged, yes.
Yep. So here we are at scores. Aztec 451, England at 442.
Wow.
Yeah. Greece and Brazil, 386 and 385 respectively.
Yeah, so we have Aztec in the lead for the score victory, England for the science, and Greece, at least right now, for the culture.
Right.
Culture definitely seems like a toss-up. It depends. Like the Aztec and England are both strong culturally as well. But yeah, that science lead is pretty significant because each of those steps costs a lot of production. I mean, it seems like all the civs are being pretty competitive with the science, and especially playing on king difficulty. You know, they're a lot better at playing the science game. They're getting use of those boosts and eurekas. So that's why you're seeing a lot of these, modern and atomic era even before the 1900s.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm kind of hoping we get a space victory, but I kind of want Sparta to pull it out. You know, being in third place on points and
Yeah.
cultural victory, that would be pretty neat.
They certainly had a lot of room to expand. It seems like they really made use of it. They got some good positions there. They got a lot of wonders. The sort of eastern edge of that continent did get gobbled up. The other continents' civilizations noticed that Sparta wasn't quite getting all the way to the edge. So they nabbed the coast there.
I think those cities are going to be pretty tight up, though. I mean, they don't have a whole lot of room to expand. They might get lucky and grab some resources that
Right.
aren't revealed yet, but we'll have to see.
Yeah.
And then there's this odd island chain between the two continents
Right.
that doesn't have any fresh water on it, or no rivers on it, so it's a little bit tough to settle.
Is there Mohenjo-Daro, the city-state?
Yes.
Okay, so their suzerain bonus, if someone nabs it, will give fresh water to all cities, even if they don't have the river or the lake there. So that whoever has that bonus might be able to take advantage of that and get some cities off the ground on that landmass. But it is pretty late in the game. You know, those cities aren't going to be able to be that much of a factor in victory.
It's an interesting turn of events, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I was watching the stream earlier, and I was definitely pulling for Rome, and I think I've done this too while playing. I think when you're playing an early game kind of more aggressively, and you're wanting to expand, it's very important to scout kind of where you want to go. And I think Rome made a smart play in sort of like boxing in England on the coast there, and they kind of nestled up towards Japan, but Sparta just had such a wide, free area that Rome kind of gave them free reign of, that I think that sort of hamstrung them later on. And, you know, even with the road bonus, there's a lot of jungles and rainforests around there, so it's probably slowed down some of their military campaigns.
And Rome's military actions have generally been against, what we've seen is they've generally been against Japan to the south.
Right.
They've tried some ill-advised wars on other people as well, too. Generally kind of like joint war declarations. But yeah, I think they got behind and never were quite able to catch up.
Yeah.
I noticed earlier Greece got Chichen Itza, which denying that to the Brazilians
That's huge, yeah.
that would have been just, Brazil is a monster if it gets that.
When I
because
saw
of their
Brazil's start, I was very pleased. They kind of moved up in my rankings initially because I saw all the rainforest, and that definitely they're able to take advantage of that. And I think they're still doing very strong here, but the Aztecs' aggression has boxed them in on both sides, which is really interesting to see. And even in the culture victory, which is kind of one of their strong suits, I think it's they're having a tough time.
They've been pretty stable with the Aztec. I haven't seen them going to war significantly with each other for a while. So
Russia's distracted them, I guess. Russia's been the target for the Aztecs, I guess.
Just as the Aztec completed another wonder too, they might be going back and building ancient era wonders just because they can.
Another thing I've noticed too is, when the camera moves over Brazil, you see a lot of Brazilian trade routes, but also a lot of Aztec trade routes. Probably the Aztec has a lot of trade routes going in between their cities across the Brazilian lands, and so that becomes a liability if you suddenly want to turn around and go to war with them. Aztecs in the information era, okay. And the AI's got a couple settlers camped out. So settlers don't cost any maintenance, and they're actually quite expensive to make. So it makes sense to kind of keep them around just in case something opens up. If you're in a war and you raise a city, you want to make a city of your own, it's a valid play. So I can see why, they're kind of keeping them around instead of just deleting them.
Oh, one little Roman city right there, population 1. They're just going to try to squeeze it in. And the Russians get their spaceport up and running.
All right.
I liked the barbarian warriors across the channel looking at it going.
Lots of trade routes going.
Lots of trade routes. All right. So with that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to mute our microphones real quick, and we're going to let this play out for a little while and see how things are going in our AI Battle Royale. Stay tuned.